Well, 2022 is not disappointing in the weird category. Let me get this straight. Spotify removed Neil Young's catalog from their service after he told them that he refused to be on the same platform as Joe Rogan because Rogan has had folks on his show, his podcast, who spread dangerous misinformation about vaccines. Basically, Neil Young told Spotify, it's either me or Joe Rogan. Choose. You can't have us both. And Spotify said, okay, bye-bye, Neil, and removed Neil Young's catalog and kept Rogan's podcast. And people are weirdly upset about that. I don't understand. More important, or more weird, leftists are upset about that, claiming that Spotify deplatformed Neil Young and also, oddly, are defending Joe Rogan for some reason. I am very confused, but let me see if I can figure this out. First of all, let's keep in mind that Neil Young was the one who posted a letter on his website addressed to his manager and an executive at his record label demanding that his music catalog be removed from Spotify in response to, quote, fake information about vaccines that Spotify allows on its platform. This is where Young called out Joe Rogan specifically and his opinions that he's floated about coronavirus and ivermectin and such on his podcast. Young's letter said, quote, I want you to let Spotify know immediately today, all caps, that I want all my music off their platform. They can have Rogan or Young, not both. So Spotify, which let's keep in mind is not a music company, it is a tech company that has focused more and more of late on expanding podcasts than they have been focusing on expanding music catalogs. So Spotify obliged. So let's stop acting like this is some punishment that Spotify meted out to Neil Young. It isn't. Young asked, and Spotify said, okay, be careful what you ask for, I guess. And I'm not even defending Spotify here because they've been pretty famous or infamous in the music industry for underpaying artists. Rapper T-Pain pointed out that on Spotify, it takes 315 downloads of a song to make $1 on that song, while on Apple Music, it only takes 128 downloads. Artists and music industry workers, organized by the Union of Musicians and Allied Workers, protested outside of Spotify offices around the world a while ago, bringing petitions signed by more than 28,000 people that were demanding, among other things, higher payouts for artists. So Spotify has never been supportive of musicians, but Neil Young throws his gauntlet down now because of vaccine misinformation touted by Rogan? Not because of Spotify ripping musicians off with their stingy payout schemes, not even because of Rogan's history of transphobia and racism and Spotify platforming that, but vaccine misinformation is a bridge too far. And y'all, don't feel bad for Neil Young. His catalog is on Amazon Music. And that's a whole nother discussion about issues he's not concerned with. But Neil Young is fine. And for leftists who are all up in arms about the initial call by Young to deplatform Rogan, I guess, I'm not a proponent of censoring or taking anyone's content down from anywhere. So Young was wrong on that. But let's be clear about who Joe Rogan is. In 2013, Rogan said of a trans woman mixed martial artist named Fallon Fox, he said, you're an effing man. And he's repeatedly allowed the pejorative word for transgendered people to be used by him and his guests on his show. He's had Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes on his show, who said on that episode that Muslims are too inbred for the U.S. to accept as immigrants. Last week, he had bow-tied Western chauvinism proponent Jordan Peterson on his show. Western chauvinism, if you don't know, is the bow-tied version of white supremacy. It's plain old racial hatred draped in a suit and big words, that's all. Back in 2019, I recall a clip of Rogan saying that he and a friend went to see the movie Planet of the Apes. And when the driver of the car, their rideshare car, who he made a big deal of saying didn't even speak good English, dropped them off at the movie theater, they walked into the Planet of the Apes. Rogan said they walked into Africa, as the movie theater was in a black neighborhood and there were no white people anywhere. And if you watch the clip, another guest on the show laughs while a third guest makes some weird, unintelligible ululations that I guess he thinks is how we communicate with each other at the movies. Oddly enough, I remember being appalled and aghast when the Sandernistas were all giddy and excited about Joe Rogan endorsing Bernie Sanders in 2020, and how we, Black leftists, whether we were Sanders supporters or not, tried to bring these issues up with white leftists about Rogan then, and how we got shut down for not wanting to have anything to do with the transphobic racist Rogan. My, how this feels like deja vu all over again. Only this time, the argument is over censorship and deplatforming people. Only that did not happen in this case, and some on the left, as usual, are defending some really disgusting white men to make their point. Neil Young can take his music catalog to another streaming service and he'll be fine. And we do not need the likes of Joe Rogan or his followers to fight for health care, which is the excuse that people always use. I think states like California are proving that it can be done without compromising integrity. Should he be deplatformed, Joe Rogan? No, of course not. But if leftists don't have a problem with Rogan's racism and transphobia, then how in the world do we trust you to fight for the people he and his bigoted guests are talking about? Basically, we don't. Follow Lukeman Nation on patreon.com/LukemanNation for lots of great content.